Where's the camera? Where am I looking? Oh, there it is.
The bit that looks like a camera lens.
Yeah, it's dark from here and I'm partially blind in my right eye. I may have mentioned it once or twice.
You see the white dot with the flash, the circle?
I'm old.
Directly above that's the lens.
You know when there's stuff on the TVs behind us?
Yeah.
When there's subtitles coming up on the TV, she has to read them for me.
Oh, really?
It's bad, man.
Yeah, that's a big
6
TV
months
as
ago,
well.
my eye went, yeah.
That's big TV. What did you do? Get paint in it?
No, it's just... The person said my right eye is as old as an 80-year-old woman, the doctor. And I said, why woman? And he went, ha.
Hey guys, welcome to the channel and episode 7 of Moar Winters. We're back again, but we're at your house this time.
Yep.
Yeah, no rubbish cottage pie.
Bacon sandwiches when you come here.
Bacon sandwiches, just as adventurous. So we've come back to do some more filming because people quite like this series apparently. So
yeah, allegedly.
We're here to do some more. I guess we'll just jump straight into it. If you haven't seen the series so far, there are 6 episodes already on our channel, and I think maybe we'll be doing some for yours soon as well. Perhaps.
Yes, that sounds like a good idea.
Because you've been asking your patrons questions too.
Yes.
Or asking them 4 questions. I
yes,
think.
I've got a list.
Yeah, cool.
So we might get to that. It depends how much we ramble on about stuff that isn't definitely not the question we've been asked.
No, we're going to ask some questions this time. We're asking people to ask us questions, so we must answer them.
I counted on the last one that we did, because we went through 7 questions. I counted actually how many we answered. We answered 2.
I mean, that's good for us.
That is good.
Yeah, I'll take that. Check out the other 6. I like them. I think they're good fun. They seem to be well received, and they do spark a lot of conversation actually, which is quite good.
Do they?
Yeah.
Nice.
So I've got some topics or some questions this time around which are a little bit non-current specific. They're just generic hobby type questions, which would be quite cool as well, because it's a little bit different. A lot of what we spoke about recently has been current fluff or current narrative, I should say, because it would tell me off. And they've been very topical, some of the questions. So this time we're going to go a bit generic and see what happens.
Yes.
So the first one, which was apparently for Sir Winters, that's how he's
Really?
Sir Winters.
Nice.
What got you into the hobby and how many years ago?
What got me into the hobby and how many years ago? Wow. It was... Okay, so 1984, I think, was before... Yeah, 1984. Before Warhammer 40k happened. I remember 1984 quite specifically because that's the year I moved to Swindon. I was 11, so you can figure out how old I am. And there wasn't any Games Workshop stores, there wasn't anything like that anymore. I was in a toy store, and upstairs in the corner of a toy store, there were some lead miniatures. See, this is the thing, people talk about the posing of Death Guard.
Yeah.
You know, it's mono pose now, or it's not mono pose. When you get the Plague Marine packs, there's a couple of different ways to pose them. When you get Mortarion, there's a couple of different ways to pose them. But I remember lead miniatures when you could only pose them one way ever. And it was all like that, or like that. Everything was...
The Death Shroud kit is quite monopose, but it's still plastic. You can still hack and cut and saw and mould.
And I remember hacking and cutting and sawing and mould lead miniatures, and I remember the scars and the blood and the screams of a boy that's not even a teenager going, ah, ah. That was my scream.
Was it?
Yeah.
A boy?
There wasn't any green stuff back then, using milliput files that I'd nicked from my dad's toolbox to file off. And when people talk about Finecast being a bit crappy, do you remember all the flare lines and the flash lines on lead miniatures?
Oh yeah.
You're old. You're not as old as me, but you remember.
I mean,
lead.
I wasn't born in 1984.
Weren't you?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow.
But yeah, I do remember lead miniatures and how horrific they were at times.
Yeah.
In fact, often they were horrific.
Yeah.
And I'm with you, like, slightly off topic, there was a massive amount of whinging about the Death Guard stuff.
Yeah.
Because they are kind of monopose. If you haven't got the box,
good.
when you get what? So you get 7 Marines in a box.
Yeah.
And each Marine that you get can be built one of 2, maybe 3 ways.
Yeah.
And actually, Noel, who's back on Warhammer on the channel, he's built Marines and he's kit bashed within that kit and managed different poses. So it's not that hard.
So in a kit of 7, you can build them in 14 different ways. And then you can kit bash a little bit anyway.
So I don't have any whinges about it at all.
No. So the idea that it's all monopose and you can only do one thing, is it as flexible as it was at the 7th edition already? No. But it's still not lead miniatures with a flash.
The big thing for me for Death Guard, though, although it's not similar, if they were to go similar, if they were to go down the Thousand Suns route with their box, which is basically like just building normal Marines, would you get all that extra Nurgle detail on the model? Because all the extended stomachs and the blood and guts and gore, you wouldn't get it because you just, it wouldn't look right. It wouldn't flow as a model.
And let's not forget that Rhinos are monopose. And Landspeeders are monopose.
Yeah.
And a Layman Rustbright tank, you can put different guns on there, but you can put different guns on Plague Marines. There's plenty of monopose miniatures that have been around for a very long time.
I think it's more acceptable for 10 tanks to look the same.
Yeah.
I think that's what people have the problem with because it's an infantry model. Maybe that's why people have such a drama.
And then one's got a big teeth in his belly, then the next one next to him's got some big teeth in his belly, But I had they look so cool. Like I said, the details on the Nurglings and the slime and the maggots and the level of detail is beyond what it was.
I had an old Imperial Guard army, and I had Valhalla Ice Warriors as Imperial Guard army.
Nice.
But, I mean, that was how expensive for a box of 10 models that cost no points.
Yeah.
And if you had a squad of 10 and another squad of 10 and another squad of 10, they all looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with it then.
Yeah. Well, I remember, go back to 1984, before Games Workshop even released Rogue Trader 40k. And the models that I originally saw were, you'd get 5, it would cost like £1 or 50p for like 5 packs of skeletons in a box. And they were all holding the same spears and all stood in exactly the same way. I remember I bought quite a few skeletons and like Gretchen and Grotz because they were small and easy to do. And they were like one colour. The Gretchen would come with a loincloth and a spear, and the skeletons would come with a loincloth and a spear, and they were all stood in exactly the same way. And it took you 17 days to get all the flash off there and file them down.
Yeah, that was the longest part, actually.
And then paint them really badly, because now with YouTube and Games Workshop and all the painting tutorials and all the stuff, back then there was none of that. You'd get this lead thing, you're like, how do I paint that? There was no such thing as undercoat. Who knew what undercoat was? It's bone. So what colour's bone? I'll paint it white, and then you paint it white, and it's like, that doesn't know. And then it took me about 5 years to figure out what a wash was.
But I also feel like now sticking back reports online, there's a lot more pressure, I think, to make it really pop and look good. Whereas back then, maybe not so much. I think there was less pressure because it wasn't so much in the public domain. There wasn't all this YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah. And all these wonderful people showing you these epic paint jobs. These basically artists. They are artists.
You step back in time. This is the 1980s. There was a Cold War and an Iron Curtain and no internet, and the DVD player hadn't been invented yet, and the microwave was this massive box in the corner that no one knew how to use.
How did you survive?
It was lovely. You could go out and play all day long.
Yeah.
And have a great time and rummage around. And if you got back before dark, your mum would kick you out the door again and go out there. But there's a dirty old man down the street. He keeps staring at me and standing naked in his window with his curtains open. She goes, don't go down that side of the street. Go the other side of the street. You know, these days everyone's so paranoid about the internet is in the pocket. The internet, the whole world is here, and it's death and destruction and mayhem and chaos and da-da. But if you look at the statistics, the crime rates and everything was much higher back then, and the old man standing in the window, there was a lot more of them back then. These days you can't get away with that sort of stuff, and you used to rummage around in the dirt and in the muck, and everyone's so hypersensitive these days. Mm-hmm. You could insult someone and it wouldn't hurt them, but these days you can't insult anyone, you can't hurt anyone, you can't say anything bad.
I was on a course this last week, as you know. We're talking about communications and stuff, and they're talking about the double-edged sword that is the mobile phone. Statistically, it's been proven that teenage pregnancies and young person drug misuse has decreased since the mobile phone usage has increased.
Cool.
So that's so off topic. We're not even talking about 40K.
But no, awareness of it is probably through the roof. So everyone thinks it's a massive thing, teenage this and this and this. But yeah, probably because of the awareness of it has gone up. Therefore, it has an impact on the statistics. It goes down. Anyway, it was different back then.
So 1984 was when?
It felt like a safer time, but it was actually, when you look at the statistics, less safe.
Yeah.
So it was mullets and bright yellow t-shirts and pink socks and things like that. I had a mullet. I got sacked from my very first job was at a hardware store. It was like a B&Q. It was called Texas Home Base, and I was 15. And then I started growing this mullet. And after a couple of months, he said, "Stop it, or I'll sack you." And I went, "No, fight the power." And then a couple of months later, he came up to me and said, "That mullet's looking really bad. Cut it now or you're sacked." And I said, "No." And he said, "You're sacked." So he got sacked for a haircut.
Wow.
These days you couldn't do that, I guess. You can't hurt someone or sack
now
people
you just
for
have
haircuts.
it tucked up under your hat so no one can see.
Yeah, it keeps the hair plugs.
Yeah.
Not the hair plugs. The neuro plugs to the battlesuit clean.
So 1984 was when? I'm going to drag you back on topic.
2 years before Rogue Trader.
But what was it that got you into it?
So there was these lead stuff in the back of the shop, and it's like, what's that? These lead things. And there was no pictures anywhere. And then there was a couple of magazines, and I remember picking up my first White Dwarf, and White Dwarf had Dungeons and Dragons in it, and RuneQuest, and lots of other game systems in there, and a bit of Games Workshop.
Wow.
And in it, there was a couple of Games Workshop articles about some of the lead stuff they do, and then there was other gaming systems in there and other miniatures in there, and it was a general magazine about wargaming. So I got that, and I got a few lead miniatures. I remember my mate got a lead Balrog from Lord of the Rings.
Oh wow!
I bought a few skeletons. I think this massive lead Balrog cost like £2, and put it together. Didn't know what to do with it, and back then, the story's the same for everyone, even now. People are young, 11, 12, 13, and they buy a few miniatures and they paint them badly. I hear this story again and again and again and again, and they might try and play a couple of games with the collections that they have, and then they get older and they find women and beer and drugs and hedonistic lifestyle, and then sometime later they end up coming back to the hobby, like after that period. And
my story is kind of the same.
Yeah, that's the same. So I got into that, and I was painting and playing with stuff, and then Rogue Trader hit. And you got to remember, back then, Warhammer 40k was just another game system. Yeah. I mean, I had Rogue Trooper, because Games Workshop released a game called Rogue Trooper, which was based on the 2000 AD character. 2000 AD, Judge Dredd?
Yes.
In 2000 AD, Judge Dredd, there was a guy called Rogue Trooper. And I won't go into the story, but I had the game. And because they released Rogue Trooper before Rogue Trader was going to come out, they put Warhammer 40k in front of the Rogue Trader game name, because they thought people might mistake Rogue Trader with Rogue Trooper. It was just another game. And originally it was going to be called Warhammer 4000, but they stuck another naught on the end to make it feel really distant. And it was just a few Space Marines running around, and I was a bit interested in that, bought a few Space Marines, blah, blah, blah.
And the 13th was born.
It was Ultramarines back there, and the 13th was born when I got back into it later.
All right.
But yeah, so it was just another game system. I remember playing Space Hulk and Adeptus Titanicus more. Space Hulk First Edition, Adeptus Titanicus First Edition. I remember playing that more than 40k. We got 40k, we had a look at 40k, and I don't know if you know or if anyone out there has seen the rules for Rogue Trader, but it's a role-playing game on a tabletop, and the rules are intense. You need
7th edition intense, or even worse than that.
It's a role play. There's modifiers for everything.
All right. Okay. So
everything is a modifier.
I'd probably
when you shot a vehicle, it wasn't just front, side, rear armor facings. It's roll the dice to see which part of the vehicle you shot them in. Did you hit the tracks? Did you hit the fuel tank? Did you hit the las cannon? Did you hit this? Did you hit that?
Imagine how long a game would take now.
Yeah. Save modifiers on 2d6, things like that. And it was a complicated game system, and everyone that I knew who played it stopped playing it because it was a complicated game system and really liked Space Hulk or Adeptus Titanicus or some of these offshoots and blah, blah, blah. And that's how I got into it. It was another game. At the same time, I was playing other games. I was doing a lot of role-playing back then. Playing lots of other games, lots of live-action role-playing.
I've never done role-playing live action. Yeah, I know what LARPing is, yeah.
Running around in a forest with
I've watched Step Brothers, whatever it's called. Not Step Brothers, is it? Whatever that other film's called.
I was a geek, a proper geek.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I see, this is the thing. If someone is fanatical about something that is in the mainstream, they're not called a geek. If you're fanatical about football, or if you're fanatical about motor racing, or for girly wise, if you're fanatical about, I don't know, Justin Trousersneck or someone, then you're not a geek.
No.
But if you're fanatical about
it doesn't matter.
toy soldiers,
you can put all the statistics and
suddenly
you
you're
know
a geek.
you know all the statistics and you know all the names. That doesn't matter. You're not a geek because it's mainstream.
Yeah, see, Marvel and comics and all that, that was really geeky. But now, if you're really interested in Marvel, it's probably not geeky anymore.
Not as much as it was because it's
Not as much as
mainstream.
it was, I don't know.
I'll lead on to another question in a minute because that reminded me, and I'll probably forget now because I'll tell you about mine. So mine, you'll laugh. As kids, Games Workshop already existed as a shop.
Right, yeah, I remember when it changed from
already sold Fantasy, already sold 40k.
Yeah.
And I used to go past the shop in Southampton regularly and never go in as a kid. Wanted to, always want to go in,
Is it still the one just past the main end, the older, the Southampton store?
Yeah,
Did it ever move?
No, it's the same place.
Because I've been there quite a few times.
Yeah.
I went to university in Southampton, so I know exactly the store.
The guy who manages the place is an absolute legend as well, one of my favourite people. Anyway, I walked past it a few times and I wanted to go in and my parents were like, no. And when asked why, basically it's the same complaint people have now, cost. Anyway, my nan worked...
See, it wasn't that way back in the day. It was cheap.
So I'll get on to the date that I'm talking about now. My nan worked in a charity shop.
Right, okay.
So someone donated some stuff to charity and she didn't know what it was. Had no idea what it was. So she couldn't accurately price it and sell it because she didn't know what it was.
Right.
So she bought this stuff around. I started taking an interest in my old man's Airfix models, like Spitfires and stuff.
Cool.
I was always interested in military aviation. That kind of explains my later career path as well. So I took interest in that, and she turned up. And
Your later career path as a rent boy.
Yeah, thank you. And she turned up and she said, "I've got some boxes," and she gave me one box and she gave my brother the other box.
Yeah.
I had given to me the old metal Bloodthirster, which up until very, very recently was still the current model, although it became fine cast.
Right. Yeah.
With a horrible, stupid face. Like some sort of tribal thing, and he got given the old plastic metal iteration of the Death Company that Lamartie's came in the box for Blood Angels.
Yeah, second edition.
And he wasn't interested really at all. And I got this Bloodthirster out, and at the time it was still square base type stuff. Nice. It wasn't really a 40k type model.
Nice.
And I saw him with Space Marines and was like, I want some of that action. Now I was 12, and this was 1999.
See, this is a rant bot. Well, this is the same sort of age, but 99.
Yeah.
You're 12.
Yeah. So it's about 1999.
I'm so young, my sweet summer child.
12. So ended up convincing my parents to go, and they bought a basic box of plastic Space Marines and a start painting set. And that
99 was the year I left university. I was in and around Southampton at that time.
Alright, we might have even seen each other in the shop.
Probably.
And that was when I first painted my Dark Age. I painted Dark Angels green because I liked the green colour scheme.
Cool.
And I did that for years because I basically had some friends who lived nearby and they came around and saw the boxes and went, "What is that?" Come to our house. Went to their house and suddenly this big set of scenery and all these models and that was my introduction to 40k. Yeah. And in all seriousness, we never understood the rules back then. No. The guy who used to play with, a friend of mine called Simon, I think he basically made it up as he went along. But it was the same rules for everybody, so it kind of worked. And he had Imperial Guard, and his brother had Space Marines.
That's a very similar story. We made up some rules as we went along to fill in the gaps, and nearly everyone I've spoken to did the same thing, no matter what edition they came across, except for 8th. People who start 8th play the rules because they're so stripped down and easy.
Yeah.
But I've spoken to people who started in 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, and they said, "Yeah, we played this version, or this is what we do here."
Yeah.
House rules. Yeah.
But what's amazing, like the Rogue Trooper thing and how complex that was.
Yeah.
Up until when they then simplified it and people got on board.
Rogue Trader.
It's like a 7th edition, 8th edition story. Really, isn't it? 7th edition was so complex that a lot of people didn't pick the Hobbit up or walked away from it.
I think there's been 4 versions of 40k.
Yeah, you've said this before, I remember.
Okay.
But yeah, I think you're right.
Well, probably 3, because there's Rogue Trader and 2nd edition, which is pretty much the same thing. Rogue Trader is a role-playing game, and 2nd edition is a role-playing game with lots of armies, and it got really crazy, really stupid, really quickly, and it was unmanageable. So after those 2 versions, they changed it completely, and it went to 3rd edition. So I'd say Rogue Trader, 1st and 2nd edition of one type of game, and then 3rd, 4th, 6th, 7th, 8th. They're just evolutions of the same type of game system. 3rd to 4th, it does change a little bit, but they don't completely strip it and pull it apart like they did between 2nd and 3rd until they hit 7th.
And I still think 5th was actually quite substantially different to 4th, really.
It's a chunk of change, but it's not massive. It is, yeah, okay, there's some big changes, but the core mechanics are the same.
Yeah. But 8th is definitely where I'm at.
8th is completely different.
Yeah. So that was how I got into it. But then I did the same as you. I had this massive hiatus.
I properly started at 4th, and the jump between 4th and 5th, you could manage. You could read it and go, okay.
I think I started at 5th, properly again.
Yeah.
So like, I'm the same as you. I had a big hiatus. So I ended up college, late school, college, rugby, drinking, joined the army. Yeah, thank you. And then what happened is what I was going to ask you as a lead-on question. Because then it kind of got to a stage where my interest sparked again. I never fully went away. I always had the stuff. I never had a full hiatus where I got rid of everything.
Right.
I've even got models in my house my parents' house in Southampton that are models from when I painted when I very first started at 12 years old. I still have those bits. Still have them.
That's so cute.
And but they went away in the attic in a box.
Yeah,
just got left there.
Yeah.
And then it got to I joined the forces and I lived 200 odd miles away from friends and family. And what do I do in my room on camp at night?
You know some of that old school stuff, the original lead stuff, if it's still unopened in blister packs, is worth quite a bit.
I was 12, there's no way it's unopened.
I know.
But then I had that big gap, and I was sat in a room on camp, I sat in a room on camp, doing nothing, after a day at work, thinking, and then that's how the paintbrushes came out. And then I started to learn the rules, and I think it was 5th edition.
Yeah.
And then that's where the question I was going to lead on to. You must have got to a stage where you kind of, I call it coming out, where you came out of the hobby and went, yeah, I don't care that people think it's geeky and people think it's, niche and no one's interested in it. I think a lot of people, especially YouTubers as well, a lot of people have a stage where they go, screw it, I don't care what people think.
I think a lot of people who... that might be the case with most people, but I am not most people.
Okay.
I refer to what I said a moment ago. If it's in the mainstream, then you're not a geek. If it's out of the mainstream, you are a geek. And I didn't care, and I've never cared. I would run around the forest with long hair swinging a sword at people. I roleplayed before, during, and after university, and met up with like-minded role players. I've always read fantasy and sci-fi.
Oh, really?
I've always played games that are left of centre.
Almost.
I've never came out of any closet. I've always been fully out of the closet going, look at me, I play with toy soldiers.
See,
I think that's awesome.
I'd love to be like that.
Awesome.
And I am
you
now.
were in the military though, so if you said, hey, I play with toys... Mind you, there's a lot of people in the military. I get comments from people, particularly Americans. There's quite a few Marines out there that say,
yeah, but
I got a message, really did me up quite well. There's a guy who messaged me who was a sergeant, staff sergeant. They're the ones that shout at people, right?
American, US?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're the ones that, you slimy maggot, drop and give me 50. That's my American accent.
That's good.
The staff sergeants, and he messaged me and said, hi, this is such and such. I don't know if this is going to get to you, because before the email hit, it said, clear, it had loads of weird shit at the top. Sorry, you can edit that. But it's only a little one. I think we'll get away with that.
I'll just beep it.
Stuff. And it had loads of stuff at the top and said, hi, I'm a staff sergeant. I'm currently in Afghanistan. And I'm a big role player. A big 40k player. And there's a bunch of us out here that can play 40k. We brought our armies with us. We're currently in this province getting shelled or whatever.
Yeah.
And I want to really, really thank you for the work that you do, and this person and this person. You mentioned Lawrence as well, and some other YouTubers. And he's taking his time to email. Don't know if this will ever get to you because of all the security checks. However, I'm willing to give it a punt because of all the things that I can watch on YouTube and the internet. It's gone from 100% of the world down to a tiny percent of the world because of all the security checks. But I can still see your battle reports out here.
That's cool.
And so while we're getting shelled, it's always nice to take my mind out of it and watch some battle report with Winters. So thank you very much for what you do. And it makes you realise that, wow, this little thing that I do reaches out around the world and touches a few other people who are living in circumstances which are unbelievable to me. And all I'm doing is filming toy soldiers, and that was cool.
I used to watch your battle reports in Afghan.
A lot. There you go.
I never said thank you though.
A lot of military people.
I've noticed that's where the coming out came from. I went and joined the army and I did all my training and stuff, and I ended up getting posted up to Ipswich with Apache, and then within about a year, I think, and I started doing it. And I was I think I was in an office or something, and someone had been picked up for being a Warhammer geek.
Yeah.
And he went, well, Liam does it too.
Yeah.
And attention turned on me, and I went, yep. It just carried on.
Yeah.
And that was it. I didn't make a big deal. And then someone came up to me about an hour later and went, what is it you've got?
Well,
I told him, I've got this. Oh, have you? And then it spreads, and then you find out that actually this thing that's not talked about and is really apparently taboo, and there's 10, 15 of you that all play the same hobby, and they had a gaming club on camp, right?
Nice.
And I didn't even know it existed. I've been there a year, didn't know it existed. They had a gaming club on camp.
So you went and turned up and said, can I play, please?
Yeah, please let me in. and even now with patrons I've got, there is 4 or 5 of them that are either military or ex-military.
I think the military teaches you confidence, right? So it doesn't matter what you're doing, so long as you're confident. Yeah, I do this. Screw you. I'm playing this game.
So what?
Yeah.
And now I've got to a stage where we put our faces, like you just said, we put our faces on YouTube. We can be seen in pretty much any country in the world.
Yeah.
No, I really don't care who knows. I don't give a damn, because I enjoy it and I love it. And if you love something, who cares what anybody else thinks about it? That's the fact, isn't it, of life in general, just not just 40k. If you love something,
I've never cared what anyone ever thought of me. I assume that everyone thinks the worst of me all the time. Start at a really base level.
And it can only get better.
And if anyone says, I really like what you do, it's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah, it is cool. The feedback from videos is really lovely as well, what people say, when people give you comments that are just a thank you for what you do.
Yeah, those are nice. Most of the feedback, most of the time, is positive.
Yeah.
And then there's the 3 camps, isn't there? There's the positive ones, thank you. And then there's the ones in the middle, or not in the middle. Then there's the other ones that you did this wrong, or I would have taken this. It's great when you put a video up which comes out 3 weeks later, and because of your list and your opponent's list and something happened in mid-turn, well, if you'd have brought this vehicle instead of that vehicle, then yes, you're right. But that was 3 weeks ago, and if it wasn't for that and that vehicle, then there would have been another situation over here where I did this and this, and I'm glad I bought that thing and not that thing. So you get those ones, people commenting with their ideas or their thoughts or their stuff.
Constructive.
Now, the constructive ones are really good because most of them get you thinking, actually, that's an interesting thought. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Then you get the rules lawyers and I don't get grammar lawyers or spelling Nazis. I get pronunciation lawyers.
Oh, really?
And Nazis. Have you got them yet?
Not yet.
People say,
no.
You said Aleitoc and not Altioc. I hate you, I'm unsubscribing.
Maybe one, but I think it was on your channel. I don't think it was on mine.
Yeah, probably.
With Simon Hahn, I think it was.
Every video, there's 2 or 3 people that tell me off. You see, the lieutenant really gets them. Because in the UK, it's lieutenant, right?
Right, yes.
But in America, it's lieutenant for a reason, because lieutenant is the way to say it if you're French.
Yes.
If you're French, it's lieutenant or whatever. That's my French accent.
That's good. There's a lot of accents today.
Lieutenant. And the American War of Independence, revolutions, that sort of stuff, they basically fought the French all the time. It was a quasi-French-English civil war thing going on there. So they called them lieutenant. So in America, it is lieutenant. Yeah. In England, it is lieutenant. So when I say lieutenant, I get 2 or 3 comments from the Americans saying, you're saying it wrong. And when I say lieutenant, I get...
You'll never please everyone.
No. So then you
name him, give him a name. And
then you get the third group of people, the last group of people who are just the haters, and the haters are going to hate.
Just give your lieutenant a name. Yeah. Like Gary's got a name, etc. And then you don't have to say lieutenant ever again, because you can just call his name.
I only name characters when they do something which makes me go, whoa. Yeah. Until that point, I don't want to name them. They've got to earn their name, and that's the reason why there's the Brothers Grimm haven't got a name yet. There's a reason why only 5 or 6 guys in my army have got names, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I mean, Brother Matthias is just a dreadnought, but he's got a name. There's a couple of times where the first time when he got a name, I was playing Tom for the very first time. He's a regular on the channel, and he had. This was 7th edition and Knob Bikers versus the 13th, right? And there's all sorts of stuff going in around the flanks, and this one unit of Knob Bikers charged Matthias, who's just a dreadnought, across the bridge, and I put the dreadnought in the way, and if he falls, I've lost. And he destroys that unit of Knob Bikers, manages to kill a couple more, and then initiative roll off, swept them.
Right.
And then he swung in with a second group unit of Knob Bikers, and some reason this dreadnought survived and swept them as well and won the game, held the bridge on his own. He's like, that guy's getting a name. And the next time Tom faced him, he just won again. He did something else. I forget what the second game it was. I brought him back just to annoy Tom because I didn't know it was going to become a regular then. He said, I hate that dreadnought. And he lived all the way through that game. This is in 7th edition where vehicles went pop. And he didn't go pop and he held a flank again. It's like, that guy's a dude. So not only has he got a name now, but he's become intrinsic to the lore of the 13th. And if you watch any of my lore videos, he's actually the oldest surviving member of the 13th and was around the time when Manus was there, the very last chapter master of the 13th.
See, I've got a friend of mine who brings Hellblasters.
They've got to earn it.
He brings Hellblasters just because he knows I hate them for no other reason. I mean, obviously Hellblasters are good, but he knows I hate them. He knows I do, and he brings them all the time.
When you say hate them, is it like Eldar hate, or is it just
low
level hate?
Right, people might lose their mind at this. I don't see why Hellblasters exist. They have plasma weaponry, so they should be plasma weaponry. Why they get -4 rather than -3, I don't know. That annoys me. Why they get a 30-inch range rather than everyone else's 18-inch range or 24-inch range, I don't know. That annoys me. Well, that just... People will give me reasons and they'll give me lore. I understand that. It just annoys me that they are a case of they are so much better than... I mean, arguably, I think they're better than Devastators are.
The AP values of all Primaris weaponry is 1 better.
I get that.
So the bolt stuff is 1 better, plasma stuff is 1 better.
But did it need to be? If you're going to give them the 30-inch range rather than the 24-inch range, did it need to be 1 better? Just to make sure that they were so different to normal plasma? I don't think it did, but that's my... I get that they're good and they're actually quite expensive points-wise, etc. Hellblasters annoy me.
Did you need to... That's weak. It's like, did you need to grow the beard so long? You could have trimmed it so it's a bit shorter. I didn't need to. Yeah, so you didn't need to, but they didn't. But they did, and you did.
Yeah.
This is life.
I've noticed 3 types of comments so far. I've only done 3 games so far. I
mean, that's sorry to interrupt. That's at a higher resolution. At the higher resolution, there's 3 main types of comments, and then you can boil that down to a lower level resolution, and there's actually about 6 or 7
I've got
core types of comments that go on.
Positive and supportive first.
Because some of the lower resolutions one are direct questions, things like that. But that's the other thing.
I've got positive and supportive first, and that doesn't even need to be a well done, you've done well. That can just be fun interaction. So for me, it doesn't have to be I like your stuff. It can just be a giggle about something that's happened in the game, and it's just positive interaction. It's just nice to chat or have a laugh or a joke about something that's happened.
Yeah.
Then I've got what I call the constructive group. They are people that will give me rules Nazis. They'll give me rules feedbacks or things I've done wrong or even tactics.
Yeah.
And it's stuff I can use. Yeah. And I don't mind if it is direct. So they said, you've done this wrong because of this. I don't care. It's constructive because I can use it.
Yeah.
And then I have so far a very tiny little group of, I hate your stuff, you're rubbish.
Yeah, that'll get bigger.
I'm sure it probably will. but what? Because I'm rubbish?
No, because if you've got 1,000 subscribers, let's just statistics, right? 1 in 100 people is going to be a hater. So if you have 1,000 subscribers, then 10 out of them are going to be a hater. If you've got 10,000 subscribers, then 100 of them are going to be haters.
I get that.
It's just statistics. So the bigger you get, you're not rubbish. No.
That's how it felt. No, I'm joking.
You're okay.
But that group, in all seriousness, mostly I ignore that group. Mostly. But I do still read them all on purpose because there might be a little gem in there that you can pick up on and go, well, if he feels that way, there might be other people that feel that way, and actually I can work with that. That's not too much of a problem. That happens. Sometimes there are little nuggets in there that are, I think, valuable.
I get asked, do you read all the comments? So to answer that, most of the time, yeah. I did all the time, always. But about 6 months ago, I literally couldn't keep up with them. So I've got the patrons going on. You've got patrons, I've got patrons, and part of the Patreon thing, we have the Discord chat rooms going on. Now I read every single comment in there, and sometimes there might be 300, and I'm sat in the car at break times, eating my sandwiches, drinking a coffee, and I'm scrolling through the comments, and so I try and catch everything in there. With that on top of the YouTube stuff, I'm at a point where it's virtually impossible to keep up with everything. No, it is impossible because people will reply. Because the way it works, the YouTube Studio thing works on your phone as well. That if people are replying to a comment that was posted a couple of days ago, it won't come up as a top comment. It'll add it onto the stream further down.
Yeah.
So, and that's the main way I look at them. Is what I'm trying to say is too many comments. I can't literally can't read every single one all the time now. I'll catch the first chunk of comments within an hour or so of putting up a battle report, unless it's a timed one, a scheduled one.
See what I do?
It's too much now. If I was doing this full time, then yeah, but I'm not. I'm working for the man, so...
I always like a comment. Not because I like the comment, because there's a little blue thumb on it which shows me I've read it. So that I don't have to read it a second time. That just works for me. But I'm the same. Like my Discord chat is broken down into about 20 subtopics.
Yeah, I've got 5.
So I can click on a subtopic, read all of that, and then go back to work or whatever I'm doing.
Yeah.
And then I can come back later and go to a different subtopic and catch up on that one, and then go back and do what I'm doing. And so that way I can digest it in chunks. I find it really easy then.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was like I had WhatsApp before we had Discord, and I had a WhatsApp chat for the patrons.
Yeah.
And I had 20 to 30 patrons in the WhatsApp chat, and you would wake up in the morning, and if guys are in the States and New Zealand and stuff, which some of them are, you wake up in the morning to 300 messages, and it just trying to follow that stream of conversation is so hard.
Yeah.
But yeah, I currently I managed to read all Discord, all WhatsApp, because I've still got the WhatsApp, and all YouTube comments. Wow. Currently, just.
And that's a workload that a lot of people aren't aware of.
My wife on Tuesday...
She's telling you off all the time.
No.
In your phone.
She was on Tuesday, my wife launched a Facebook page called Warhammer Widows. Yeah. Because she wants to do a funny kind of spin-off of the Warhammer channel where she whinges about me, because she likes to whinge about me. So I said to her, you're a funny person. I think you're funny. Yeah. Put it out there. Yeah. She was thinking, and she wants to do eventually launch her own YouTube channel for wives to just jump on board and go, this is brilliant. So she's done that, and she's launched that Facebook page. I got home from a course yesterday. I've been on a 4-day course up near London. Yeah. I got home yesterday, and she went, how? I said, what do you mean how? She said, how do you keep up? Nah. I said, what do you mean how do I keep up? She went, she's got 170 likes in a week on her page, on her Facebook page, which is impressive. Nice. And she's like, it just keeps pinging. I can't keep up with it. Said, and now you realise why I have to sit there sometimes for half an hour and spend time dedicating to replying to these people. You know who really impresses me? Lawrence impresses me, because he's got twice as much stuff. I know he's doing it full time and he's got the time, but he's got so many different communication streams coming in. Mm. And when you message him, and I've heard from other people that when they message him, he does answer. Yeah, I chat to him a fair amount. So you go, you chat to him. I try not to. I mean, I haven't messaged him in months because I know what the burden's like. I badger him. You shouldn't. About YouTube stuff. You shouldn't. Not regularly. But what I like about Lawrence is... He's a busy guy. Yeah, but what I like about him is I badger him about YouTube stuff. I'm 2,500+, I think it's 2,600 odd now. Badger me instead. And I badger him about something. I'll just ask him something. Mind you, don't badger me. What a legend. What he's doing. He'll get back to me and give me hints and tips and help me out at my small level with as busy as he is. Yeah. Every time. Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm just impressed by the guy. But like you said, to be fair, he does do it full time, so maybe that's the secret. Yeah. Maybe that's the secret. Right, I'm going to check this camera and see how much we filmed and make sure it has actually been filming. It looks like, if you look at the TV reflection, it looks like there's still your white wall in the background. I told you about my eye. I can't see the TV. I can see blurred shapes back there, but at distance it all goes. So basically, I'm filming on a new camera, and the proof is that my phone's now here. So I just want to make sure it is actually working. You've got a microphone and everything. Well, because the last time we filmed in your house, people whinged about how nice and quiet and softly spoken you are. Because I never used a microphone before. No. You could probably have this one soon if you wanted it. I've got a new one coming. Have you? Yeah. I'm going full pro. Wow. Let's check this camera. Maybe boil the kettle. Cup of tea. And then either continue this video or move on to the next one. If we move on to the next one, I'll do the outro. But we'll see once we've seen how much we filmed. And that's one question we've done. Did we do it? We did actually answer the question. We did it. Maybe that's the difference now. Cha-ching. Quality over quantity. Yeah. Let's check it. Right, so we just checked the footage, and I mean, it's 40 minutes for one question. It's filming though. Yeah. That's a bonus. I thought it may be 20 minutes. No, 40 minutes. You turned it on this time. Yeah. That never happened. So we'll wrap this one up here. That'll be the end of episode 7, I think it is. And then we'll launch into another question. And maybe we'll just do a question per video. If we do a question per video, we've got enough content for about 100 videos. Nice. Which would be cool. Nice. You guys can imagine what it's like when there isn't any questions. Seriously. Just someone says something and then half hour later the wife is saying, shut up. Yeah. I think she did that when we were sat in my studio kitchen. Yeah. I know. I think that happened What are you guys talking about? I don't know. We're talking about belly button fluff or chasing 2 bits of raindrops down the window screen, seeing which one hits the bottom. My wife does this part and she'll ask me something and I'll start talking to her, and this little grin appears, and I'm like, "What?" She's like, "I should have never asked." I should have never asked.
Are you aware of Jungian character archetypes?
No.
The red, blue, yellow, green.
No.
Different types of character archetypes. So everyone's got predispositions in them.
So the one we use is the Myers-Briggs type indicator.
Yeah, there's that.
Which is about natural preferences, etc., and how you interact with other people. This is going to get deep, and it's not maybe for...
Well, no, but, philosophy. Well, red is get it done now, very ABC, right?
Yeah.
If you're a red personality or whatever archetype that you're referring to, it's people who like, when they ask a question, they like the answer, and that's it. And you have opposites of this.
Yeah.
And they did this archetype test at our work, testing for different archetypes. My wife is off the scale on red. She is really like 1 in 1 million, I think it was 1 in over 10,000 people have her type of preference this way. She is very ABC, you say you're doing it, you're doing it. She's also really good at writing lists, like all women are, but she's really good at writing lists. She writes lists about lists. Or when we're going to do... It's also really good for shopping, because women, shopping is more like grazing most of the time. They go to a shopping centre and spend hours looking around doing this. But she will go to buy some jeans, she'll come back, that's it.
Okay.
It's very boom, 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 the end. I'm at the opposite end of the scale for her with my archetypes. So it makes things very interesting sometimes. So if she'll ask a question, I'll go, well...
We need to do the MBTI thing, you'll be interested in.
Yes or no? I say, yeah, but yes and no, and this. Yeah.
This MBTI thing we did this last week, which tells you about your natural preferences, is essentially exactly that. And there is a bit in there about people that write lists and people that are opposite and all that kind of stuff. You have like 4 different qualities, and when you found your 4 qualities, you plot them down, 4 of them, and then when you finish that, you have a page.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's like star signs. This can't be accurate.
And it's scarily accurate.
It was horrendously accurate.
Yeah.
One of the things it says was you can let your hobbies and interests take over your professional life.
Can you? Who'd have thunk it?
Apparently so. It was on the bottom of the page. So. Anyway. We'll stop talking about stuff that's got absolutely no relevance whatsoever.
I think I'd find that stuff fascinating.
We'll wrap this one up. And we'll
and
we'll move on to another question for the next video. Then maybe we'll do your one next just to guarantee it. And if we do get distracted again and then we're run out of time, at least we've got one for you as well.
I've got a related question to what we were just rambling on about. Let's wrap up.
Right. Thank you very much for watching. If you check out the description below, there are multiple links. We have a Patreon page and many patrons, and so does this man. There is a link to Redbubble for merchandise, and more importantly, there is links to 2 of our sponsors. So we're sponsored by GameMat.eu, which give us excellent game mats and brilliant scenery, and then we've got even more now. And finally, we're sponsored by War Games. Martin and the guys up at War Games in Southport. Check out the website, they do discount miniatures. If you become a Warhammer patron or a Winters patron, you get even more discount on discount miniatures.
20% off RRP, wargamesuk.co.uk.
So check them out, and we'll see you in the next one, I suppose. Yeah.
Bye.